Well, hello and welcome back, my Bottle Language buddies. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Bottle Language guy, and welcome to episode show, or I don't know how to call it yet, number 100 of the Jesus Enrique Rosas show. It's amazing that, in spite of all that the crazy stuff that I can do with this channel, all the experiments, all the improvisation, and well, all thanks to you, of course, we have arrived at the show number 100. And I would say that we have a packed show today. A lot of stuff has been happening. A lot of stuff has been happening. We're gonna highlight some of your comments while we gather here together. We're gonna be talking about that bird flipping from Donald Trump. Candace Owens is making a comeback to my show again. It's I don't know how this happened, but I'm going to talk about Candace Owens as well. Saudi Arabia. We need to talk about Saudi Arabia and what's going on with Iran, and a couple more things for today's show. Yeah, episode 100 or show 100. I don't know how to call it. Chapter number. No, it's not chapter. The chapters should be bigger, right? It's like this show was divided in two chapters. Chapter 1 ended on March of 2025. And then I decided to, hey, let's go. Let's do this. Let's continue live streams because why not? Remember that the best way to support my channels, I have more than one, is to like and subscribe. I have the Bottle Language guy. I have the Royal Rogue. I have the Power Pundit. And the other topics that I will be covering, I will be scattering all over my other channels. I'm going to make sure to include them in the description of this video. And we are ready to begin. We're ready to begin with something that I have a question for you. Maybe you can feel I have a bit of a stuffy nose. All right. Think that we are now ready to begin with this. You know, I've been trying to follow up American politics, and it can be a bit hard sometimes because things I don't understand, the concepts that I still have to study. I'm at it, but I see all of a sudden House votes 2026 226 to 197 to overturn Biden era shower rules. Then I read Biden, and I read shower, and I instantly thought that this was some kind of okay, yeah. When Biden took those showers with Ashley, his daughter, and it was inappropriate according to Ashley herself. People say that this is not has not been verified, but we know that there was this let's say confirmation that those actually happen. And yeah, it's disgusting. In fact, this is a shower act which repeals a Biden era rule redefining multi-spray shower heads to cap total water flow at 1.8 gallons per minute, aiming to ease restriction on household water use. If you're concerned with water use, then maybe the solution is to shower in pairs. You have thought about that? Maybe that is a good solution. Maybe it's something that we could be thinking, but not with your daughter, you creep. Please don't do that. There's this explanation here if you want to screenshot that or you want to pause, but I know that you don't want to pause because that's the idea behind oh my god. What is this? This is something creepy. There's something creepy that that is too much information, but it's something that we needed to know. That's something that we absolutely needed to know. We continue, and people were criticizing me because on one hand, I was criticizing the people who were mocking Charlie Kirk's death, which it shouldn't be that. Wait, no, you know that I made a couple jokes about that, as in, you should not speak ill of the dead, but when it comes to Hugo Chavez, I'm going to speak ill of him all that I want. Again, this is my show for one reason. And, I saw this and I couldn't stop laughing. I couldn't stop laughing. You're going to tell me, oh, Jesus, as usual, that is not very Christian of you. But I saw this. The remains of the 32 Cuban bodyguards killed during the U.S. raid to capture Maduro on January 3rd have arrived in Cuba this morning. And I was watching this video. I'm going to play this. And my first question was, are these Oompa Loompas? Are these hobbits? I mean, these are too small to even be hobbits. I mean, I was just imagining that. Oompa Loompas, Cuban Oompa Loompas. Why were they Cuban? Because, yeah, we know that Maduro couldn't trust any Venezuelan to protect him. So that's why Cuba sent this mini-me's. Yeah, that was that they were pre-cremated before sending them to Cuba. For the limited space in the aircraft, it was much more practical to cremate them in Venezuela and then send them to Cuba. You just one trip, all right, in tiny boxes. So, again, that's something that I couldn't stop laughing. I couldn't stop laughing with this. But it is what it is. It is what it is. We need to talk about Donald Trump and that gesture. But, I'm still the body language guy. I'm still in charge of talking about gestures, talking about, people speaking with their bodies and their hands and their faces. And in this case, Donald Trump was caught on tape basically flipping the bird. What happened here? So it happened that someone heckled President Trump at the Ford plant 2 days ago. So he mouthed F you and flipped them the bird. People were saying that this was AI as usual. We have this huge problem. And loved, says the Nick Sortor. I'm gonna play this. Maybe without the sound, we can zoom in. That is the benefit we have from this. There's Trump. That is the silhouette. It's unmistakable. And he says, "You say that there's the F. That is the F about to explode." All right, the audio. The audio was gone? What about now? Okay, what I want. Now you can hear me now you can hear me. What's that? It's usually, we could not have a 100, episode 100 without audio problems. That is something that is classical. Something that, turn on the audio, please, Jesus. Thank you for that. That is nice. That is why it's important to have you here. So if you don't mind, I'm going to restart this segment again. The idea is that I record this live shows. Okay, I'm looking at my audio is nice. And then I upload this to as a standalone videos on this channel and my other channel. So if you don't mind, I'm going to restart this section. Oh my God, this is so unprofessional, amateurish. What are we doing here, CW? What are we doing here? But let's start this section again. Let's start this section again. I'm pretty sure that you don't mind. We need to talk about Donald Trump and that gesture that he gave. Very expressive. You know that Trump is very expressive, not only with his words, which is pretty much unfiltered, but his signature way of sitting down, with his feet firmly planted on the floor, and now we have a very spontaneous flip of the bird. We can say that, right? Bird flipping, flip of the bird. And why did this happen? Well, it happened because someone heckled President Trump. The guy essentially called Trump PDF file protector, as in Trump is protecting PDF files. My question has always been, why didn't they call Biden that? We're talking about the Epstein files. You know that Bundy, I don't want to talk about Bundy today, but she has been a mess with all that Epstein stuff. And I'm pretty sure that Trump is not very pleased with that. But again, people are telling Trump that he's protecting people. And he was heckled at the Ford plant 2 days ago. So he mouthed F you and flipped them the bird. That is President Trump I know and love, says Nick Sortor. And we can see here, okay, in the sequence, we zoom in on Trump and you can see the exact moment in which he says, yeah, it's unmistakable. You say he's preparing the F. We have a picture. There's a classic picture of Trump, you know, with the finger like this and about to drop an F word. Maybe it was not the F word that we are looking at here, but it was on point. I think that he says that a second time, and then he flips the bird right there. Okay? Now, this is the kind of things that I don't know sometimes. This picture, for example, this picture is so crisp. I can guess that there were professional photographers covering this, and somebody got the shot of Trump doing that. Many people are reacting and saying, why is he acting like this? Why? That is not very presidential. And we need to remember that Trump is not it's not a conventional president. It's not a conventional politician. I wouldn't say that he can be cataloged as a politician, even cataloged as a politician, because he's so special in many ways. And well, people were asked about MS Now actually ran an entire segment just on people's reactions to Trump flipping a guy off at Ford. Thanks Gina Milan for this. Let's watch this clip and see what people have to say.
I feel like he's just being himself, you know. I feel like everybody has personality. Don't look at it like judging a person, you know. Sometimes you shouldn't judge the book by its cover.
Honestly, I expect nothing less from this guy. Like, this is classic how I'm going to react when I don't like what's being said.
I just think it's a bad display of like America as a whole, because everyone across the country is seeing this, and if you see somebody who's obviously riled up in his emotions like that, I just think it's a bad look.
Doesn't make us look good.
In terms of leadership,
Right.
we have, as former teachers, how do you present a leader?
Nope, not at all.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like so many people saying that, oh, looks so bad, but again, it's something special. I have my opinion about this. I have an opinion that Trump was basically unfiltered as usual. Let's say more unfiltered than usual. And he was not, maybe he felt there was no cameras on him and he can just go for it. Why not? Go for it. And breaking, TJ Sabula, I don't know why the guy who was heckling Trump has a rapper name. I didn't get that. The worker who shouted at Trump has been suspended. And people are saying that, what about freedom of speech? Isn't a guy, can't a guy exercise his freedom of speech? I mean, heckling the president. I guess that you gotta have some kind of maybe I don't know, respect. And if you don't show respect, then I guess the president has the right to respond in any way that he deems appropriate. Maybe there was the appropriate way to respond. This started when Trump showed his middle finger and appears to say F you after 4 worker yells PDF file protector. Now that worker has been suspended. But, of course, every single time this kind of things happen, yeah, it is important to remember, thank you, Scrapping Wolf, that Biden called U.S. citizens or MAGA or Trump voters garbage. Yeah, I remember that I made a video about that. People were saying, oh, no, Biden did not say that. And Biden absolutely said that. And it was not an emotional outburst. He was very calm and collected when he said that. So again, it's ultimately we are dealing with humans, even if those humans, in the case of Biden, not only showered with his daughter, but also he was basically cognitively impaired in more than one way. TJ Sabula, the Ford worker who called Trump a PDF protector, told Washington Post he is, quote-unquote, politically independent, but the Daily Caller discovered that he was not that independent, or he is not that independent. Oh, right, I guess that is out of the question. I guess that we could say that he doesn't like Trump. That is obvious. I mean, we had the idea. We had the idea that the heckling indicated that he did not like Trump. And in case you feel bad for the guy who was suspended, well, worry no more, because there's already a GoFundMe covering his ass. And, well, it's there's a Rider CC64 very proud of donating $500 to the guy who heckled Donald Trump. And as of the recording of this video, or this live stream, it was very close to the target of $250,000, where it is not too shabby, as they would say. Well, that was very profitable. That was very, very, very profitable. I can imagine people trying to, when they see Trump, trying to heckle him in a very special way so they can get suspended or maybe fired and get the same treatment. I think that is seems like Dems are pretty rich. This is what I say. I remember the GoFundMe of Carmelo Anthony, the GoFundMe of Renee Good. We're gonna be talking about Renee Good as well. There's so many GoFundMes out there, and all these people just break the ceiling of this fundings. How do they do that? I mean, they have actual money. They might hate and despise capitalism, but it seems that capitalism is working very nice for them. Very nice for them, because if you are in socialist handouts, I don't think that you have the spare change to be able to, send a little monetary message to your current hero of the day. I don't think that that would happen if you were on socialist handouts. But again, that is what is happening right now. Let me see your comments. See as your comments. Your comments here. Mr. President, will you please flip me off so I get fired and get rage for being rude? The suspension was because it made Ford look bad. Every company has a clause like that. Yeah, this is something that is expected, right? There is something that is expected. But again, many people are going to congratulate that guy. He's going to be happy about that guy, because many people, have a Trump derangement syndrome, and they just want to express their ideas about Trump in unconventional ways. And this guy was the voice of all those people. I want to talk about that as well. But to talk about that, we also needed to talk about the way that Trump spoke about Renee Good. You remember the ranch liberal who was driving that SUV, who was 3 minutes honking at, dancing, blocking the road so ICE couldn't go through, and then mocking the ICE officers. And then when there was this ICE officer right in front of the SUV, the girlfriend or wife or whatever began shouting, "Drive, baby, drive." So Renee just stepped on the gas and almost ran over that ICE officer. Remember, right? So President Trump says Renee Good was likely a solid, wonderful person under normal circumstances, but calls her actions pretty tough. So this is interesting. I want to say to the Father that I love all of our people. They can be on the other side. I would bet you that she, under normal circumstances, was a very solid, wonderful person. But you know, her actions were pretty tough. And Trump has the point that I've been trying to come across or express in my videos, in that we don't know how many of these people are just brainwashed. Because that they might be saved, they might be redeemed, and sadly it was too late for Renee. She was completely brainwashed and was a tragic outcome. Let's hear it from the Don himself.
The death of Renee Nicole Good. I've been speaking to her father, who is a big supporter of yours, like many Americans are, but he's heartbroken right now. I can understand that. He's heartbroken because his daughter is dead, that's obvious. He's also heartbroken because your administration so quickly has come out and said she's a domestic terrorist. What do you want to say to her father right now?
Well, I want to say to the father that I love all of our people. They can be on the other side. As you say, he might be on my side.
He is on your side.
And I think that's great. And I do. I think it's great.
So the father of Renee is MAGA, or is a Trump fan, which it makes it those family reunions must have been really interesting. That past Thanksgiving must have been really interesting.
And I would bet you that she, under normal circumstances, was a very solid, wonderful person. But you know, her actions were pretty tough. I mean, I've seen it many ways and many different shapes and forms. But the bottom line is, look, we have hundreds of thousands of murderers in our countries, killers. ICE is trying to get them out. They were let in through an open border policy of Sleepy Joe Biden. ICE is working very hard to get them out. Their job is being made very, very difficult. And, you know, when you look at that tape, it can be viewed two ways, I guess. But when you look at the way that car was pulled away, there are a couple of versions of that tape that are very, very bad.
Even Trump says that you can look at that video in two ways. As in, the late Scott Adams used to say, watching two movies on a single screen. As in, some people are going to see something, but we know. I already made a video analysis of all the angles, and it's obvious that, yes, the ICE officer was actually hit by the SUV, and yeah, she floored that gas, which was really dangerous, and it was not more dangerous because it was slippery. The pavement was really slippery. So we also have Renee Good's former father-in-law, what he thinks about her. So he doesn't blame U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement for her fatal shooting in Minneapolis. Timmy Macklin, her former father-in-law, told CNN the situation was hard all around and that he believes some bad choices were made, but he doesn't blame ICE. I don't blame also Good's wife, Rebecca. I don't blame Renee. Macklin said he wishes that if we're walking in the Spirit of God, I don't think she would have been there, and that his view is shaped by his faith, which is also what we have been saying. Common sense. You exercise a bit of common sense, and common sense will save you a ton of times of not doing stupid things or being at the wrong place at the wrong time doing the wrong stuff. You have the right to do so, but it's much better to stay alive, stay safe, and maybe you can protest, maybe you can have an opinion, absolutely, especially in the United States, but you can express that in other ways that doesn't put you in danger or your loved ones in danger, which is the single most important thing that anyone should be thinking about. Good was married to Macklin's son, who died in 2023, and the couple shared a 6-year-old son. Macklin remembered Good as an amazing person and good mother who was full of life. When pressed by CNN anchor Erin Burnett on whether the shooting was justified, Macklin reiterated that he was not blaming anybody. Again, because the circumstances are tragic. Tragic is the word. Renee should not have been there. Macklin said that he watched cell phone video from a witness that showed Good's vehicle striking an ICE agent. Oh, interesting. And said that in a split-second situation, it's hard to say how would anyone react. It is important. And speaking of which, we have asked this question before, not only in our shows, but in my videos. What happened to the footage from the girlfriend, wife, or whatever? What happened to the footage shot by this phone? And it's gonna be a very good footage because this is a latest gen iPhone. I don't know if this is an iPhone 16 or 17. I don't know, but it's like this. No, it says maybe 16. Should be very crisp, very clear. Should be like the footage that we saw from the ICE officer. But it turns out the Department of Justice has opened an investigation into Renee Good's wife, Rebecca, for actions on day of shooting, ties to militant far-left groups. I mean, what is interesting, the most interesting part of this footage is that I can guarantee you that it would be interesting, not only the footage of this tragic event itself, but photos and videos of past activities. And if the FBI has gotten hold of this phone, then it could be interesting. I'm sure that we are not going to see the contents of what is in that phone, but I'm pretty sure that it's going to be revealing. And at the same time, I still think that this is tragic for everyone, including the girlfriend, because yeah, it's something that you are not measuring your actions. You have this brainwashing. I really want to be empathetic to this, because it's something that it is baffling, the amount of propaganda. I mean, I have an anecdote. I remember that when I was in my 9 to 5, I was sent to Caracas. I was not living in Caracas. I was sent to Caracas because I was representing my institution. I work at a university, and I had to go in representation of the university to an event in Caracas. And the event was in a, let's say, at a part of the city that was completely red as in Chavista, okay? So I remember that it was after a tunnel. You went through a tunnel, and when you got out of the tunnel, you saw propaganda everywhere. And the event itself, I had to excuse, the event was going to last 2 hours. I couldn't stand even 20 minutes. I just left, okay? I was scolded by my bosses back then. It was not as hard of a scold. I had like executive power, so I could just leave, which I did. But I felt physically sick of all the propaganda around me, the streets, the huge murals, paintings, posters everywhere with Hugo Chavez's face. It was something that I have never seen. So much propaganda in all around me. And the event itself was by the Red government, by the Chavista government. I think if you are representing a public university, you have to go to that. You have to, but I just couldn't understand all that. So my question was, when I was going back, my question was, I felt physically sick just in less than 2 hours, okay? The trip there, going down 20 minutes and then going out, let's say 1 hour and a half. What about the people who live here? What about the people who are exposed to this every day? What about the children who are exposed to this in schools? What about the people who are exposed to this in other, maybe they are, they work at a public job. Yeah, they have a funcionarios. I don't know how to say that in English. They work for the government, for example, or they have they work at a public school or any public institution. They're going to be exposed to that 24/7. And that I could understand, yeah, how can people be so brainwashed in so many ways? And yeah, that showed me, yeah, there brainwashing at a large scale can be a thing. And with the media right now, with the mainstream and legacy media behind all these Soros-backed campaigns, who knows to what extent these people have complete and absolute brain rot. The thing that we should think about that, because we need to acknowledge that behind these people are actual human beings, all right? I can mock them, I can make fun of them, but these people are actual human beings that are being pushed, literally conditioned, brainwashed into doing all of that. And of course, we also have the hoaxes, like the very famous Very Fine People hoax. I've tried to debunk some of those hoaxes in my videos and on my channel, but there's so many of them. There's so many of them. I want to mention this clip that people are saying, immigrant tells officer she doesn't have to comply and refuses to leave her vehicle. This is misleading. I'm going to show you this clip. That is somewhat related to what we are talking about, but this is not, or we don't know if this is an immigrant. This could be perfectly a United States citizen, and this is not ICE. We see in the beanie of the officer that this is the police, all right? This is not ICE, this is the police, but the exchange you're about to watch, is a bit disturbing, because my question is, if you have an officer, a law enforcement officer, right on the other side of your window, right, in your car, and the officer says that you have to get down or get out of the vehicle, get out of the car, oh, well, I think that you should comply. I would like to play that Chris Rock video at some point. I don't know if YouTube could allow me. But this is important. This is important to watch. Let's watch this.
I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing anything, sir.
Ma'am.
I'm not doing anything, sir.
I've already told you.
I'm not doing anything.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
I need you to unlock the door.
Okay, we already spoke about this, sir. I'm not doing anything to y'all.
Unlock the door.
No, notice that it's very simple. The command is very simple. Unlock the door, roll down the window. It's very simple. Comply, as CW says. It's very easy. It's one word. One word, comply. Go for it.
I'm not doing it. They wanna.
And there's another police officer on the other side. This maybe he has got a bad day. Maybe he had an argument with his wife that morning, and you know, all these are human beings. That's why I tell you over and over again, watch that movie, Crash from 2004. Watch the movie Crash from 2004. That movie changed my life.
They wanna
Yes.
break the windows. And this tow truck over here came over here too. I don't even know.
just unlock the door and
Just unlock the door.
Sir, I'm not gonna do it because
unlock the
I'm
door.
not doing
and
nothing
step
to
out.
you.
Yes, you are at this time.
I told you, no, I'm not.
You are not listening.
And notice the patience. Notice the tone. He's not raising his voice. Really, he's being very polite about this. But being polite can only get you so far.
It's not about
I already told you.
No, sir, it's not that. I'm not doing anything to
Yes,
you.
you are.
No, I'm not.
You are not listening to me.
I am, sir.
You're not free to go. You're not free to drive away.
It's
Okay,
coming.
I understand
It's coming.
that,
You're
sir.
obstructing. The
Wait
car
for
has
it.
to be towed.
No,
So
it
you need to
doesn't.
step
No,
up.
I no, it doesn't, sir.
Yes.
Like,
you are
I'm a
hazardous.
Why would you put yourself in this situation? You're putting yourself in this situation. It is amazing. I mean, this is not a body cam footage. Was recorded by herself. I think that it is. I find it baffling that these people really think that recording themselves in this situation, in that attitude, that behavior, is going to, I don't know, benefit them in some way. As in, I'm going to protect myself, and I'm not going to comply with a direct request from a law enforcement. it is. I don't know. I watched this and I couldn't stop laughing. Yeah, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. J no more numbers. This is how this works. I mean, you have to comply. I have an anecdote for you. I have many anecdotes. I remember about these anecdotes. You know that I used to work in graphic design. And in my early years of graphic design, we're talking about the late 1990s, it was hard to get, a gig here and there. We did not have internet or Fiverr or any of that. But I got a nice client, in which I worked for him. It was an attorney. And I designed a book cover and business cards and a lot of stuff. And I remember that I had a nice project with him. And I got a nice payment. It was around 100 bolivares back then. It would be like 2 billion bolivares by now with the inflation. But I had around 120 bolivares back then, which was a lot of money. And I remember that I had to go to the printing press because I owed them some money. I paid to the printing press and I went with my car. It was in downtown, that's the city, very small, in the old downtown of the city. You know that you have small old houses, small streets, and you have these one-way streets that are a bit hard to navigate. And I was very excited because I had 120 bolivares in my back pocket. And I remember that I missed one of the turns, and I turned in the wrong street. So I was going the wrong way. And of course, I had gone through that area many times for months. And that day, there's one police car just coming in right in front of me. And I was going the wrong way. So these two guys, they jumped out of the patrol car like they were, I don't know, TJ Hooker or something like that. Oh my God, I revealed my actual age with that reference. Or Miami Vice or something like that. They had their hands on their guns, and I say, I'm dead. I'm dead. You can tell that I was not dead. But I said, okay, I am in trouble here. So I got out of the car And I needed to de-escalate the situation. And yes, it's about, speaking to them, is playing the fool, acting like you are retarded, but not this kind of retarded. Not this kind of retarded, as in asking questions. So I'm sorry, I didn't see this. I couldn't play the I am a tourist card because I was born in that city. I couldn't say that I'm a tourist. They could have found out within 1 minute. So it was like, were you smoking something? What were you doing? Why were you driving like that? And they had their hands on their guns all the time. And I had 120 bolivars in my back pocket, and I was in Venezuela. You know what that means, right? That if you get pulled over by the police, you have to grease their hands so you can, be free. But I knew that if I reached for my back pocket, they were not going to shoot me. No, something worse was going to happen. If I got my pack of bills out, they were going to see my pack of bills, and I certainly would have preferred them to shoot me before giving them my payment of months working for this guy. So I said, I apologize. Like I don't know, 1,000 times. I tried to, this is not going to happen. This is the first time. You can check my records. I was just distracted. I don't know if I made something up about a family member with an illness. I've been this all week. I'm sorry. Sub story. It's better to give a sub story than to give your hard-earned money. Although I was measuring maybe a .38 bullet to the arm, maybe it would not be that bad. And I did it. I unlocked them. I persuaded them, and they just let me go with a warning. And I was, oh my God, I have this power of persuasion. It was like Spider-Man being born. Okay, I can persuade people. I can only design books and business cards, but this is what you need to do. You comply. You get out of the car. You get out of your car. Did you cry? No, I did not cry. I did not cry. That would have been bad. That would have been bad, but I did not cry. But I complied. I spoke in a regular voice tone. I tried to de-escalate the situation, and I did not have to give them a single bolivar, which was one of the greatest wins in my life. I have to say that. If you're from Venezuela, when I remember that I felt when I got inside my car, I backed down and went through the right street. This adrenaline rush. This is like, I don't know. I already had this adrenaline rush, but it was all this 10 million needles penetrating my skin, as in, wow, I did it. But 2 things, please. Comply, obey the police, make sure that you don't do anything stupid, and if they tell you get out of the car, you get out of the car. So, anecdote of the day. Nice anecdote of the day. We can move on. We should move on. Let's stop talking about police officers for a minute, and let's have some kind of a break, a wholesome break. I'm gonna show you this clip. If you have a sweater like this, it's important to keep it all the way zipped up so you keep invaders out. This is a moment for wholesomeness.
If you have a sweater like this, it's important you keep it zipped all the way up. Keep invaders out. I mean, it's kind of cold outside, but you need to make sure that you're nothing will climb in the collar on those. It's a really nice, high quality quarter zip sweater. It's kind of tight around the collar. She's using her back legs for traction. Look at them digging. In the front ones are digging too. Oh my gosh, she might make it. Oh, here, no.
You did it.
No,
Do
no,
it.
she might. Oh. She defeated another one. Kind of stretched it out too, Bonnie. Hey, cheese. Cheese. Hey, where are you? That's what it's like. No, never mind.
Well, you need a little sweater. You need a little sweater for your dog. You need a sweater. I saw this. I said that I need to include this kind of wholesomeness in my shows. As a timeline cleanse. That's something that we need. We had a cat like that. I saw a comment, melt my heart, SSJB. Yeah, it was a heart melting moment. And now I need to talk about something. We need to talk about something. You know that, how to say this? You know that I had told you a while ago that I was not going to talk about Candace Owens anymore. Not only about Candace, but other content creators and commentators as well. I think that our fight is against, the actual bad guys, not among us or between us. Even if some commentators can be really crazy. And I said, I'm not going to cover any of it until I saw this on my timeline today, which is impressive because I have almost everything muted, her account, her name, everything. And this somehow managed to go through the cracks of my filters, because even Scott Jennings was commenting on this. Candace Owens, thanks to Nathan Livingston, Milk Bark TV for their amazing clips of Candace Owens' show. Candace Owens is now pushing that Charlie Kirk was a time traveler. At least that's what, according to her, that's what Charlie said himself on a text. And that he had agents, just like the Matrix, all right, you had my attention, monitoring him from childhood. And that he was killed because he tried to disturb space-time continuum. No, I am not kidding. So Scott Jennings asked the question, if you heard someone muttering like this on a subway, what would you think you were dealing with? And, well, I have one word, 4 letters for this. But in all fairness, we should watch the clip. I'm going to should you watch the clip and pause it, let's say, little by little, see what is this about, and then we'll see the comments.
Why did Charlie think he was a time traveler? He said, as I showed you in earlier messages, that he was a time traveler and he had to find me.
Okay, so there was Charlie who said that he was a time traveler. I guess that was a figure of speech, a metaphor or something. Not right, because if you are an actual time traveler, first thing you do is buy Apple shares, Steve Jobs coming back, and number 2, buy Tesla shares. That's the 2 things that you have to do if you're a time traveler. We don't know if Charlie Kirk did any of those 2, but I'm pretty certain that he was not a time traveler. If he said that, it was a metaphor. Figure of a speech or something like that.
Is that just something people are saying to their homies in text messages?
No, because it's kind of a joke unless you take things at face value or literally. So maybe the problem is the person who assumes that it's literal or at face value. Oh, an actual time traveler. What kind of sorcerer is this?
And again, not anything that I would have placed so much emphasis on back when he was saying it, but it came to fruition.
It came to fruition. Okay, I didn't pay much attention about the time travel thing, but he has actually a DeLorean at his house.
The other parts, he did die young. Why did he think that him dying young was necessary in order to change things? He did die young. It is related to Turning Point USA.
Why did he think that dying young was necessary? As in, okay, one thing is that Charlie Kirk said that he was a time traveler, which should have been a joke. And the other thing is that Candace Owens is actually going with it. So Charlie knew, like, I don't know, the movie that I didn't quite understand, Tenet. And I did watch Tenet 3 times. And I still have, and I watched like 7 YouTube videos trying to explain the movie. But somehow Charlie knew that he was going to die young. And he did not do anything to prevent that. So it was some kind of message from the future, I guess. I don't know. My head hurts.
In some way or another, at the very least, we can all agree it's related to him speaking at a campus event for Turning Point USA.
Yeah, one thing that he did over and over again for years, he did many times. That was one speech in one campus of thousands that he did. Okay, there was a special significance, this one.
I'm totally occupied by this. I tell you, I read these messages and I'm going, what is this? What is reality, actually?
I mean, Candace, I can understand. I'm sure that I don't get not even a fraction of the messages that you get. I get very crazy emails. There's many crazy emails. I try to check them out, all the emails that you send, and you refer me to some YouTube videos and some forums and people saying really outrageous and crazy stuff. And I can understand that if Candace is receiving like 100 times the emails that I get, and she reads all that, the abyss is going to drive you mad at some point. You're going to go bananas. Like, you're going to have a loose screw or something like that. There's another term for this. There's another term for that. You're going to be short of there's an expression to say that you are kind of nuts, that you are short of but I don't remember. If you can remind me in the comments, it would be amazing.
And Charlie died. Yes, like I said, it was related to this organization.
Again, she says that Turning Point USA has something to do with Charlie's death, assassination.
And I think we would all agree that his death and the manner that they did it changed the world in ways that I don't think we can fully realize, or certainly not in a way that I can articulate. You just cannot pretend that all of this is one big unhappy coincidence. It's entirely plausible, I think plausible, that they knew something about Charlie.
Right. Primo Genitor says that 1 can short of a 6-pack. Is that one? I don't recall it that way. But I guess that 1 egg short of a dozen. A sandwich short of a picnic. But thank all of you. Karen G as well. Sandwich short of a picnic. That is the one that I've heard. A sandwich short of a picnic. Ayahuasca. No, that's not the one. An ayahuasca trip gone bad. An ayahuasca trip gone bad. Please don't do ayahuasca. Don't do meth. Public service announcement. I have to go back a bit.
You just cannot pretend that all of this is one big unhappy coincidence. It's entirely plausible, I think plausible, that they knew something about Charlie.
They knew something about Charlie. That word. She keeps using that word. Why does she keep using that word? They, everyone. A brick shy of a load. She's missing some screws. Yeah, it's, those are the terms I'm looking for.
And that's why they had him marked and had him monitored.
They had him marked. Who had they marked and monitored?
And had him likely followed since he was young. And maybe they thought, like the agents think.
The agents were following him since he was young. How young? I don't know. A baby, perhaps? A kid? He was a special kid. I know the anointed one. I don't know. The reverse Damien. I don't know. This is the reverse omen kid.
That if they swarmed him and they stayed with him and they pretended to be his friend, that ultimately they could control Charlie and perhaps change an outcome. They could literally change an outcome related to Charlie.
I have to say that I'm impressed that I have watched around more than a full minute of Candace Owens, and she has not mentioned the use. That is an improvement. I mean, that is an improvement. We are breaking the ceiling, the glass ceiling with this one. We are completely rewriting paradigms with this.
So when for the first time in his life, because I do believe he was managed, I mean, I've already said I was handled. I didn't recognize that I had agents.
You should have agents. You should be managed in many ways. Yeah, I was thinking about this. A reverse Damien. A bizarro Damien could be.
And for the first time in his life, Charlie peeks his head up and starts to push back in a meaningful way. They couldn't stop him from becoming bigger. That seemed to be inevitable. But they panicked. They seemed to have panicked.
Who are they? I want to know, who are they? She keeps saying they. It's like a Mexican telenovela. You never go to the end. What?
Right? I mean, this is just starting to happen within a year. When Charlie's going like, hey, man, I don't actually think this. I don't actually believe this. And then he goes, you know what? Take the money. Take the money out of the organization. And they panicked. They freaked out. And their solution was, no, just kill him. Just kill him. We can't have this.
All right, so this is, I mean, again, I can understand. Once again, this is the clip that I'm gonna show. I'm gonna show you some reactions. The reactions and the comments are just poetry. I tried to Gator Gar. Big shout out to Gator Gar, one of my favorite follows on X. I tried so hard to help people understand how crazy this lady is. Is they in the room with us right now? Oh no, it's like at some point Candace is gonna be the protagonist of those videos. This channel, what is this channel called? It does this very long analysis of interrogations. Is that crime psychology? I think this is called. Peter B, there's no way this is real. I also thought, that with so much AI, I need to double verify, but Milk Bar TV, he always goes for the source. He doesn't put, there are accounts that they share memes, the AI stuff. No, this guy makes sure to post only real videos. So yeah, it was real. And Holaria Bryden, which is a parody account. Do you have proof that Charlie Kirk was not a time traveler? And Nathan says, of course, I dreamed it. There's other videos here. I had, let me see. I can show you. There's other videos in this thread on Nathan show. My favorite thing about Candace show is that you can tell what movies have made an impression on her. The Matrix above, Inception here. I'm not playing this. You can go to Nathan's the Milk Bar TV on X and watch all these clips. This, of course, connects to Candace's theory that there are human sentinel hybrids. Again, not kidding. Not gonna play that. I value my sanity. If I want to read science fiction, I would grab a book. I have a ton of science fiction books that I haven't read. That is much more interesting than this. A compilation of the many, many times Charlie Kirk spoke over the years about what he saw as the rising threat of violence from the left, etc. Candace Owens is, this is something that I thought doing at some point, an analysis of that interview from Piers Morgan of Candace Owens. But at the same time, I don't like Candace Owens and I don't like Piers Morgan, and I basically have muted both of them because both of them are just grifters. Okay, I wanted to give Candace the benefit of the doubt around October. You know that in my videos. I wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt, but by this point, no, this is way too much. And it is. I'm going to say that it is embarrassing going on Piers Morgan and being mugged by Piers Morgan. That is pathetic. That is pathetic. And Nathan also has a video about all the ways Megyn Kelly has been on the wrong side of this. I mean, Megyn has all the right to say whatever she wants, but it is a bit, gives you the ick how she is destroying her credibility so many times. Because it's not once. It can be once. It can be 2 times. But 5 or 6 times? No, that is way too much. There's the reactions. Macroblock wants to say, this can't be real. This is actually mild compared to the episode. Dude, this woman having an audience is the scariest thing in America right now. People listen to the ramblings of a batshit crazy person and then adopt it as something to defend. Cooked. That's what I've been saying. Yeah, this is part of the things that I've been saying. But, well, there's always an audience. I always say that. If Amber Heard has fans, then anybody can have fans. That's why we are living in an era of humanity that anybody with a camera and a microphone can have an audience. Anybody, you watching this, you want to start a YouTube channel, you want to do crochet on a YouTube channel, go ahead. You want to build, I don't know, strange stuff with Legos, go ahead, create a YouTube channel. You want to talk about any sort of thing you want to say, go ahead. There should be a song for this. There should be a song for this. And we are all we're just expressing our opinions as I'm expressing my opinion right now. And bringing you the stuff that I'm doing. Anybody can do that. Anybody can build an audience. But, and this is important, one has a responsibility over the audience. One has responsibility over the influence that one has. I have a responsibility. And yes, I know all the steps, every single step to create a cult following. But I've told you almost every other live stream that you should put to test whatever I say. You have to think about whatever I say. And if it doesn't fit your experience, if it doesn't work for you, then no hard feelings. If it does work for you, more power to you. So yeah, it's like I could build that. I have been studying sects and cults and manipulation for ages. But if you are here, and I always say that if you're here after I've been ranting for 1 hour, 2 hours, 5 hours, that's because you want to be here. There's no other way. So thank you, by the way, for being here. So we need to move on, and a couple more topics that I want to talk about. There's a topic that we need to talk just a bit about this. It's happening on Iran. I needed to talk about Iran because what is happening in Iran is brutal. It's tragic. This is a genocide. This is I don't know if genocide is the word, but it's a massacre. There's a massacre of the Iranian people. more than 20,000 people. We have seen the body bags. We have seen the bodies on the streets. We have seen, I cannot show you none of the, even on X, I think it's disturbing, the images that are coming out of Iran. Even if the regime, the Ayatollah regime, has blocked the internet in every single way to get any sort of information, it has been blocked. We have images and it's not good. And we thought, everybody thought that America was going to do something, that Donald Trump was going to do something last night, and it did not happen. And it turns out that it seems that the attack that was going to take place was averted at the very last minute. We still don't know why, the official narrative of why. We do know that it would have been, let's say, a grand scale attack, because it would have been that surgical like they did in Venezuela, and that they practiced that Venezuela incursion for months. But well, dramatic new details about the attack on Iran that was stopped at the last minute last night. The U.S. informed senior Israeli officials that it would attack Iran at night. Accordingly, Israel prepared for every scenario, both defensively and offensively. Around midnight, after being on maximum readiness, a phone call came from the U.S. with the message, "Stop." In Israel, it is estimated that Trump has not backed down from his intention to attack Iran, but is waiting for the right timing when he can also be more certain of overthrowing the regime. I don't know. An estimated death toll, we can't possibly know. This 20,000 or 40,000. It is horrific. You just see the images, and it is horrific what is happening. Live ammunition on protesters, and that this happens. Why? And this is the thing that people are talking about. Trump shared to his Truth Social account. Iranian protester will no longer be sentenced to death after President Trump's warnings. Likewise, others. This is good news. Hopefully, it will continue. I mean, I don't know if that's simple. I can't believe that a regime that has oppressed people for 45 years in the most horrific ways and with an iron fist is going to say, just like from 1 minute to the other, after shooting its own citizens, after shooting its own people, oh yeah, we're not going to shoot them anymore. We're just going to stop. So this is literally, this can be this way. Literally, this can be this way, and nobody can believe. And accounts like Bonchi says, this is no longer feels like subterfuge. It feels like Iran called his bluff on the red line and he blinked. Thousands took to the streets at his call to keep fighting, because Trump also said Iranians should stay on the streets fighting. Okay, that is a bold strategy. That is a bold claim. That is something that, okay, you have to keep fighting. And people in the streets of Iran, in Tehran, were still fighting because they thought that help was coming. And the help was coming last night. And the help never arrived. With a promise, help was on the way. I can't pretend this doesn't bother me just because it's my team. Yeah, it's really bothersome. And now we have Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Oman have convinced U.S. President Donald Trump to give Iran a chance, a senior Saudi official says. So we have three countries that basically are giving Iran a chance. How much more chance does Iran need? We have theories here, and we also know, you remember that not long ago, the Crown Prince was in another visit to the Oval Office at the White House, very with his usual smile with Trump. But right now, Saudi Arabia had formally informed Washington that it will not permit United States military aircraft to use Saudi airspace for any strikes against Iran. And the problem is that the United States has bases on all these countries, but those bases are basically useless if you cannot use the airspace of those countries. So it's a catch-22. It's like having their hands tied. So why is this happening? There are theories about that. There's a very interesting theory shared by Morgan Downey. Morgan Downey is an interesting. I followed Morgan with this. If there are 44 billion reasons why Saudi Arabia has decided to, let's give Iran a chance. If Iran sanctions are lifted, 160 million barrels of Iranian oil stored in floating tankers flood the market immediately. And what happens if you flood the market with any sort of product? What happens with the price? It's very easy to know. An additional 1 to 2 million barrels per day of Iranian production follows. That pushes oil from $60 to $40 per barrel. That pushes oil prices down. And you can imagine that these countries, especially Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the other was Oman, right? Oman. They are not interested in the oil going down. Morgan Downey, if you want to see an actual analysis of this, Morgan Downey's post on X is perfect. It also mentions why Saudi Arabia can't just, cut production. You can also cut production, and by cutting production, you can drive the price a bit higher. But it's not like you can do it unilaterally. You have to be with your fellow oil production countries as well. Under 94, the Saudi welfare state is already upside down. At 40, it is insolvent. So normally, Saudi would just cut production to save the price if an increase in Iranian oil came back to the market. They cannot. Why? Because setting Iran aside, a wall of supply is hitting the market in 2026. So it's basically, an oil problem. An oil problem. And remember that the past November 2025, Saudi Arabia says it will close all diplomatic, defense, trade, and economic relations with Israel if Israel bombs Iran as in Saudi, Iraq, and Syrian airspace. Yeah, it is complicated. It is complicated. For example, it's so complicated that the UAE, the United Arab Emirates, they have not pronounced themselves like pro or against anything. Okay, they have not said they're like staying out of this. They staying out of this. Yeah, that would be crazy for the oil industry. That would be another oil glut. Remember, I've been studying. There's this very good book called The Arabs. I'm gonna tell you who is the author in case you're interested. Just in case you're interested in the topic, Eugene Rogan, The Arabs History. I was in my latest trip. I was reading that book. Fascinating book. It's fascinating. It's very easy read. If you want to understand all the history, Venezuela is mentioned, of course, with all the oil. It is obvious, right? It's like we are Venezuelans are tied to oil since forever. Michael President, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Oman, Syria, Iraq, and Turkey need the Islamic Republic of Iran to survive. Without it, they lose influence, especially Qatar, by the way, and the ability to say, you need us to help you with Iran and its terrorist proxies. Because, by the way, Qatar, at the same time, has this, let's say, holds the money of the Iran regime. So if it doesn't have the banking business of Iran, it is bad business for Qatar. So that, again, it's about money. It's a lot about money. With the regime gone, the focus will shift to the next tier of the state sponsor of terror. One country definitely stands out, and it pays heavily to stay out of the spotlight. Yes. Sadly, this is what is going on right now. It is not looking good. It is not looking good for Iranians. What was the book just mentioned? It's a book about the history of Arabs, of the Arabian world. Very interesting book. Helps understand all this, all the conflicts, all the everything about that. I will give it a solid review. Oh my God, Chris, with your broken Venezuelan, nice attempt. You have no idea how many tries to get this sentence to the mangled mess to get around to Google AI, but nice attempt, and thank you for your super chat, Chris. Thank you for that amazing super chat. Oh my God, your not safe for work super chat. By the way, at the same time, people are saying that some of these countries are doing what we have seen like in the UK. The Middle East has been dumping all their extremists to Europe and the USA intentionally. This is according to Wall Street Map. They don't have to do that intentionally. It's very simple. It's like you have Saudi Arabia or have the UAE as well or have Qatar. They don't want any extremists, and that's why they ban the Muslim Brotherhood in their soil. So if you're from the Muslim Brotherhood, what do? You go to the UK, you go to France, you go to Germany, and up until very recently, you go to the United States as well. And you will be safer in the UK than in Saudi Arabia if you are an Islamic extremist. It is what it is. Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Iran pay to construct mosques in Europe, and the USA pay the salaries of imams to go there also. Export the crazies is a strategy. I mean, it works. It is working. You go to Saudi Arabia or Qatar or UAE or any of these countries, you will not find extremism there. They are very wary of having any sort of extremism in their soil. And it is heavily punished down there. But those extremists have to go somewhere. And if you are, for example, in the UK, and if you are retarded enough to accept those extremists, I'm pretty sure none of these countries, not Saudi Arabia, not Qatar, are going to complain about it. So, yeah, this basically UK is helping these countries be safer while the Western world accepts that. And there are other reports like this. 48 mosques have opened in Texas in the last 24 months. This is being funded by Qatar and Saudi Arabia. They pay the salaries of the imams and control the message delivered to their followers. This is a national security threat and needs to be stopped. Yes, because it's like the example that I gave you with Maduro and Venezuela and the criminals of the Tren de Aragua and the thugs of the Tren de Aragua, who was easier, instead of having them in Venezuela, just export them to the United States. The gang leaders stay in Venezuela. They still control those, that trafficking, that terrorism, everything in the United States. And it's a win-win it was a win for Maduro. It was a win for the gang leaders. It was a win for the thugs as well. Of course, it was a lose for Americans. But that's how it works. And sadly, if Biden left the door open, if Keir Starmer leaves the door open, if Emmanuel Macron leaves the door open, that's what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen. That's why you have to keep your door closed and have a very strong filter, because again, this is about case by case basis, and I will not, I won't get tired of saying this over and over again, because again, I am affected by the thousands of bad acting Venezuelans that have done horrible things. And I wouldn't blame people to say, oh, you are a Venezuelan as well. What do you think about that? I condemn all that. I would like those Venezuelans to face the full consequences of their actions. So the same way that I don't condone that, and I don't think I like anything that has to do with that way of taking advantage of others, which has a lot of representation in Venezuela. I'm sad to say it. I am not part of that. And I think that I am example of any other group could it be Venezuelans or Catholics or Muslims or Jews, is the same. You cannot just say that a blanket statement. But when you see these patterns, you know that the people who are arriving on your country, you have to filter them in one way or another. And usually those filters have to happen before they enter the country. Big tip in there. Big tip in there. So, I don't know if I had another wholesome moment. Oh my God, I have something here that I need to. I have a wholesome moment here. I have a wholesome moment. Maybe this live stream can be a bit longer. I have enough material for 2 hours. So maybe we can go for 2 hours. I had another super chat here, by the way. SSJB, thank you. Remember that this is our show number 100, and SSJB is celebrating with a super chat. You can also get my merch in the description of this video. You can also get my book in the description of this video as well. Body Language in 40 Days. Or if you want to just leave a donation for yours truly, I will be very grateful as well. There's also the link in the description. But let's have a wholesome break, and let's say that it gives us hope. When we say that we could have opportunities in life, when you do things exceptionally great, things are going to happen in your life that maybe might not turn out the way that you want. But I have spoken about the evil queen of Disneyland's, of this amazing lady who was an amazing actress and was enjoying her time. 8 years she was not only the evil queen, but also other characters at Disneyland. And she became so iconic. I posted her videos here, and on my scene surgeon, told them I work for Disney. And, oh, which princess were you? And, well, it was not precisely a princess, but she was so iconic that she became a character of her own. All right, and people began going to Disneyland only to see her. And you know that this was, not the kids. This was the adults who went to Disneyland. We need to take a picture with the evil queen. Where's the evil queen? And then maybe another evil queen appeared. Oh no, we don't want we want the other one. And they knew by name. It's just I'm not gonna show her name here, but everybody knows her name at this point. Why? Because she was so good at what she was doing. So Disneyland ultimately had to let her go. You could say that this is sad, that she was let go for being so good at what she was doing, but I think that she outgrew, I think we can say that word, right? She was basically beyond the character. The character was already too small for her. It is my understanding that she is going for acting, for theater. I'm pretty sure that she's going to do amazing. I'm pretty sure that she's going to do amazing. It's going to be an exciting future, and maybe being let go of Disney is the start of a amazing journey. Sometimes you do things so great, you are so good at stuff that you get fired because you are too good. Maybe I sincerely hope that she's going to have a bright future ahead of her. I see some questions here. Bigger than her place. That is an expression. There's another question here, for example. Why do you think there is no peace with Islamic people? There are countries, I always mention, I am not paid, nobody pays me. I mean, the last organization that paid me money to say anything was, I still use that service, private internet access. They are not paying me for this. It was years ago that I did my last gig with them. I was simply just doing different videos, and I did not achieve the quotas with them. But besides private internet access, which is a VPN, and a couple more sponsors, I have never been paid when I mentioned the UAE is because I have confirmed with my own eyes that they are trying to make it work for everyone there. And yeah, there are synagogues in a Muslim country, and yes, there are Catholic churches there, and I have attended Catholic mass in there as well. That is an example. Of course, you could say, okay, that is one example of many countries, of many people, but this is a good, it's a nice start. I can't speak for Saudi Arabia, which is way more strict. Even if they want to become more modern, I can't speak for Qatar, which still, they want to be modern as well, but being modern starts precisely for, the more extreme interpretations of the Quran. Well, those people who are a bit more extreme, maybe we don't want in our country. So they are starting there. The problem that those people have to go somewhere, and then those people are going to the Western world, in which they are, received with this suicidal empathy, which is not the way to go as well. It is very bad for the Western world. So that's what's actually happening. And again, I could say that is my opinion, but that's basically what I think is going on. Okay, question about the evil queen. Did she want to be let go? I don't know, but if you are let go, you don't have an option. If you are let go, you are let go. But again, I'm pretty sure it's going to be... She already is famous, okay? That helps sometimes, okay? If you can capitalize over it. In acting, that can be great for acting. I think Trump is trying to be unpredictable and was watching to see how they deployed forces. Could be. The thing that I see, how I see the attack, the hypothetical attack on Iran, the Iran regime, is that is going to be complicated. It's going to be too huge of a scale. But even if you take the head off, it's like the Venezuela stuff. It was a surgical incursion, which in fact one pilot was shot 3 times on the leg, but he even could pilot with no problem and take the chopper back to the base. Amazing work, no casualties, but Iran would be way messier. I really don't know. And of course, I can't speak for Venezuela and how Venezuela works. I can't speak for Iran because I have some understandings of the inner workings, but I don't know the scope of what they have to deal with. As I explained the Venezuela case, there are Iranians explaining the Iran case. I have tried to watch their explanations, and yes, it's complicated. Which is not complicated is our next topic. Not complicated at all. Shouldn't be complicated, but people are trying to make it complicated. What is our next topic, you might be asking? Our next topic that shouldn't be complicated at all, but it seems that it's complicated for some, is that if men can get pregnant. I'm going to tell you another anecdote from my childhood. I remember that I was watching TV back in the early 80s. I must have been, 8 years old or something like that. I was watching my cartoons, and then was, the ads, the advertisement. And all of a sudden there was this promotion of this magazines, the science magazines of the day. I was a fan of science magazines. I'm a fan of science fiction. That's what I'm a fan of AI and everything. And I remember something that I have never forgotten because I found it disturbing. But a kid, 8 years old, watching TV and having this science magazine. We have the edition of this month. We have these articles. Everything was fine until the last one. who said literally, now men can get pregnant. I was around 8 years old at the time. It was mid 80s. And I was, again, why? I could never get a hold of that magazine, by the way. But I remember there was this diagram of a man. This is like a silhouette of a male, of a man. And you have a tiny animation of his belly growing. And I already at 8 years old, for reasons that I might explain at some point, I already knew how the whole thing worked. I mean, I was, let's say I was left to my own devices and many stuff. I had a lot of books of everything that I had access to, literally thousands of books. And let's say that some books were not meant for an 8-year-old. But I knew the whole thing. But men can get pregnant? That left me with a what? I knew everything about the anatomy. I knew everything about the process. That math ain't mathing, I said back then. But I could never really get a hold of that magazine. And I was worried. I was genuinely worried because what if I got pregnant? Imagine that. An 8-year-old kid just watching something passing on TV and then being worried about, okay, what if I get pregnant? Okay, imagine that. So now, lo and behold, say like 40 years later, we still have the woke stuff, the crazy stuff is not dead yet. We are trying to kill it, but it's not dead yet. And Senator Josh Hawley says, can men get pregnant? And this supposed Dr. Nisha Verma, well, I'm pretty sure that there's a terminal libtard or part of the terminally ill libtards clan. I am not really sure what the goal of the question is. What? Holly says the goal is just establish a biological reality. Can men get pregnant? And I have to warn you, this exchange is painful to say the least. Okay, this is muted. Okay, now we go.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Since you bring it up, why don't we just start there? Dr. Verma, I wasn't sure I understood your answer to Senator Moody a moment ago. Do you think that men can get pregnant?
I hesitated there because I wasn't sure where the conversation was going or what the goal was. I mean, I do take care of patients with different identities. I take care of many women. I take care of people with different identities.
You mean that you take care of people with mental illnesses, with literal mental illnesses, right? That is what you mean. You could say that. You can articulate that. It's easy.
And so that's where I paused. I think. Yeah, I wasn't sure where you were going with that.
Well, the goal is just the truth. So can men get pregnant?
Again, the reason I paused there is I'm not really sure what the goal of the question is.
The goal is just to...
Okay, so I have to highlight this comment. Sorry, I have to highlight this comment. The Arnold movie freaked me out as well. I remember that movie as well. I don't know what was my age. I did not watch that movie, but only the concept of a man getting pregnant. Again, it reminded me of that moment when I saw that ad on TV about men getting pregnant. So again, I even with all the information that I had, even of all the knowledge that I had this fear, literal fear that can this really happen and how? And don't get me started of what kind of theories. And I'm a very visual person. I think that is obvious. How my imagination tried to picture how the fuck was the baby going to go out. I'm just going to leave that there because it is not nice memories to have. And yeah, I do have memories of being frightened by the idea of, a kid. I was just a kid.
Establish a biological reality. You just said a moment ago that science and evidence should control, not politics. So let's just test that proposition. Can men get pregnant?
I take care of people with many identities, but
Can men get pregnant?
many women that can get pregnant. I do take care of people that don't identify as women. That
Can men get
Mental illness.
pregnant?
Again, as I'm saying,
Let me just remind you what you testified to a moment ago. Science and evidence should control, not politics. So can men get pregnant? You're a doctor, I
agree.
think.
Science and evidence should guide medicine.
Do science and evidence tell us that men can get pregnant? Biological men, can they get pregnant?
I also think yes/no questions like this are a political tool.
Yes or no question are a political tool. I was watching this. I already watched this clip. And I remember that scene on Airplane when this guy, the protagonist, was talking to people in the plane, and there was this guy that's pouring gasoline on himself and about to light a match because he couldn't start. That's how I feel right now. That's how I feel right now. This is embarrassing. And this complements very well what we were talking about, the invasion of the Western world because of suicidal empathy. How is this a conversation in the Western world? The Western world is the laughingstock of the world because of this. Because this conversation should not be taking place. These people, this doctor and her different identities, patients, all of them should be thrown into an insane asylum. Arkham. They have to go full Arkham. We have to go full Arkham on them.
No, yes/no questions are about the truth, doctor. Let's not make a mockery of this proceeding. This is about science and evidence, and I'm asking you. The United States Supreme Court just heard arguments yesterday at great length on this question. This is not a hypothetical question. This is not theoretical. It affects real people in their real lives. And you're here as an expert, called by the other side as an expert, and you've been telling us that you follow, right, you're a doctor, and you follow the science and the evidence. So
Science and evidence, and she's an expert designated by, you guessed right, the libtards.
I just want to know, based on the science, can men get pregnant? That's a yes or no question. It really is, I think.
I think you're trying to reduce the complexity of a lot.
I'm not. I'm trying to get, it's not complex. I'm trying to get to an answer, and I'm trying to test, frankly, your veracity as a medical professional and as a scientist. Can men get pregnant?
I think you're also conflating
This is
male
extraordinary.
female with
No, I'm not conflating male and female. They're two different things. There's biological men and there's biological women. And I want to know, can men get pregnant?
what you were talking about is biological.
You're not going to answer my question, it sounds like to me.
Biological males.
This isn't hard, doctor. Can men get pregnant? Yes or no?
Again, I would be more than happy to have a conversation with you that is not coming from a place of trying to be polarized and push.
I'm not trying to be polarizing. I'm trying to ask, I think it is extraordinary that we are here in a hearing about science and about women.
You know what is the craziest thing, or the most interesting, I would say interesting thing, is that she could say that men can actually get pregnant, because if she defends the fact that she attends, or I don't know, she has patients of all sorts of identities, then she could say, yes, men can get pregnant. Why doesn't she just say that? Because there's a literal yes or no question. Either men can get pregnant or men cannot get pregnant. It is obvious that she's not going to say that men cannot get pregnant. And it is a yes-no question, because you cannot be half pregnant or kind of pregnant. So she's purposefully avoiding the question to appease, I don't know, who? The woke mob? You're going to lose your job? Most likely. I have noticed that people are really still terrified of the woke mob. This woman is terrified of the woke mob. And she knows that she can't say directly, yes, men can get pregnant because that doesn't make sense. At least, I would say, the way that she's trying to avoid answering the question, at least there's some kind of humanity in her. Because if she was a total convert, she said, yes, men can get pregnant. I see that all the time in my practice. She doesn't even have the guts to defend whatever she stands for. And it's pathetic.
And for the record, it's women who get pregnant, not men. We are here about the safety of women and science that shows that this abortion drug causes adverse health events in 11% of cases. That's 22 times greater than the FDA label, another fact you haven't acknowledged, and yet you won't even acknowledge the basic reality that biological men don't get pregnant. There's a difference between biological men and biological women. I don't know how we can take you seriously and your claims to be a person of science if you won't level with this on this basic issue. I thought we were past all of this, frankly. I can't believe we're still here talking about this.
I am a person of science, and I'm also someone here who's here to represent the complex experiences of my patients. And
your patients can have complex experiences and wishes. They can wish that they are, I don't know, a tree, but it doesn't mean that they are a tree. They have a delusion. They are crazy. It's as simple as that. You don't want to offend them, and by not wanting to offend them, you are putting people in danger. This is the reality. This is what these people are dangerous. These people are dangerous. They claim to be with a science, they claim to be scientists, they claim to be are doctors, are actual doctors, and they act like this. This is nothing short of criminal. This is criminal. Could be laughable, yes, we can have a good time making fun of them, but it's concerning because there's actual human lives at stake with this. We're talking about, we're talking about drugs on people who maybe actually need them and need to be given to the right kind of people. Not people with delusions that, oh yeah, I can get pregnant. Yeah, sure. How does that work?
I don't think polarized language or questions serve that goal. I don't think they serve the American people.
It is not polarizing to say that there is a scientific difference between men and women. And I want this to be clear and for the record. It is not polarizing to say that women are a biological reality and should be treated and protected as such. That is not polarizing, that is truth. It is also, by the way, the United States Constitution, which offers unique protections to women in a variety of circumstances as women. And your refusal to recognize women as women and men as men is deeply corrosive to science, to public trust, and yes, to constitutional protections for women as women. And I think it's extraordinary that you would sit here and advance a political agenda that has been thoroughly discredited and rejected by the American people in this forum. And I'm glad we had this exchange because it is exceptionally clarifying. It is also in many ways quite depressing. I see that my time has nearly expired. I just want to thank the other witnesses for being here. Thank you for protecting women and children. Thank you for your valiant efforts. Thank you for following the science.
Yeah, this is again, it's almost from a Saturday Night Live sketch. Chris sent a super chat, and Chris, you're using Venezuelan Spanish the right way. Chris just said una gafa. Una gafa is what we say in Venezuelan, that she is dumb. She's a fool. Okay, she's a fool. But again, she's foolish and irresponsible, I would say. She is quite irresponsible. And I don't know how this has gone to this far. I have no idea how this has gone this far, but it is. It is. Well, it has. This is the right way to say it. I don't know. This this is really concerning. And again, I remembered all those instances in which I can't imagine. I was just exposed to a glimpse on a TV ad one single time, only one time. Imagine a kid exposed to that. That's cool. Every day for years. It's no wonder that so many people are crazy, are infected with the craziness. I don't know. CW identifies as a millionaire. I identify as a millionaire as well. I want to manifest that. We need to go full Tony Robbins with that. We need to go full Tony Robbins. Full Tony Robbins on air. We still have one last topic. I still have one topic, much more lighter for today's special show. I want to round this up to 2 hours, because why not? You only have 100 shows once in your life, so let's go for it. And I want to talk about one last topic, which is a bit more like entertainment and culture. And when I say that I'm a man of culture, I need to talk about topics like video games and movies and the crossover between them, that most of the time they don't work out. And when we talk about legendary franchises of video games, let's say Lara Croft, Tomb Raider, or Tomb Raider for short, because Lara is the protagonist of the video game, it's quite legendary. I must say that I have not played that many Tomb Raider games. I do know the character of Lara Croft, of course, for reasons, but it seems that we're gonna be exposed to a new version, a new cinema version of Lara Croft with what is the name? What is the name of this actress? Sophie. What is the name? Sophie. I forgot her last name. But I forgot her last name for reasons as well. We have a Dollar Tree heavily discounted version of what could have been an appropriate Lara Croft. You remember that Angelina Jolie did that Lara Croft character some years ago, and that one was really on point. Why? Because it was not that self-aware. It was fun. Those movies, we have to say, maybe especially the first one, were fun. We need more fun movies. That's all. Is that too much? Sophie Turner, thank you, Alexandra. Thank you, Sophie Turner. I absolutely forgot her last name. Even if she played Jean Grey and the Phoenix in the X-Men franchise as well, it was completely forgettable. Sorry, I pretend that didn't happen, and I think that she's not going back. Oh my God, I miss Famke Janssen. I miss Famke Janssen. Where's Famke Janssen these days? What is she doing? I miss her. Well, Angelina Jolie as Lara Croft was generational. No shade to the other two. It just is what it is. I remember I watched this movie, and I have no memory of this movie at all. I mean, not in the least. So I don't remember the plot. I don't remember. I watched it at the cinema. I have no idea. You ask me. You threatened me. I don't know. You threatened me with a gun. You have to say anything. Well, I remember she was jumping some kind of hole in the ground, or maybe she was also looking for a MacGuffin that had some kind of infection liquid or something like that. Yeah, that's it. I don't remember anything else. But again, these movies are made to have some fun, and also the charisma of the character, the charisma of the actress counts a lot. Yeah, we could joke about Yeah, that she needs the fun bags. Okay, the fun bags are important, but I'm not gonna lie. If you make me pick between these two, yeah, Angelina's charisma was on point for the character. Right? This is something. Now we can have another version as well. We can have the Cybertruck accurate version. Okay, which it could be the video game accurate, but she looks like a Cybertruck. She looks like a. I would watch this movie as well. I would watch that. It would be different, I guess, but it would be interesting, and it's a good thing. It's a good thing that we don't have the, let's say, the 2022 version that would, if this movie had gone in 2022, this would have been the 2022 accurate version or 2020 accurate version. No, we with the septum ring. Oh my God, the septum ring. Yeah, this is very accurate. This is completely accurate. What is this? Yeah. We're just lucky we didn't make her too inclusive. There's so many ways this could go wrong. There was some. I think this was AI generated, but this was. I don't know. This, even if this was AI generated, this looked cool. This could work. This could work. I think that Sophie Turner could do, if she doesn't go full Sophie Turner, because you know that Sophie Turner's appeal is that she's that kind of actress that she's got only one facial expression. She's got only one facial expression, and that's it. I don't think that could work for a character like Lara Croft. You need, I don't know, emotion, like action, everything. And I could I love with this, with Johnny Electric Sheep. Like, I appreciate the outfit and the poses. They're doing a good job with all that. It just doesn't work without the tits. Lisa Croft, my God, this is amazing. That's why I tell you, this is so much better when we do it this live, because your comments are everything. Your comments are everything. Your comments on everything. Although I would always give Sophie a chance. I hope this always boils down. Okay, the fun bags are important, but the script is everything. Like, a good movie is script first, everything else later. Everything else. One thing that I always remember, and I don't know, the picking Sophie Turner. This could have been that this could have been a great movie because the actress was not that known. Okay, and I remember when Steven Spielberg was casting for Jurassic Park, he purposely wanted actors that were not that known. Okay, it's not that Jeff Goldblum was not known, or oh my God, I forgot the names of the Sam Neill. Oh my God, how could I forget Sam Neill? Laura Dern, amazing actors, but it's not like they are way too famous. Steven Spielberg said that he didn't want way too famous actors because he wanted a more grounded movie, even if the movie had dinosaurs. Go figure. But that was a nice approach. I always remember that. Oh my God, I could be talking about movies. You say this, Alexandra, script first, titty shot second. Maybe if you're Roger Corman, you could afford to flip that order. Maybe you were Roger Corman, you could think, okay, we need the script, We need the gore. We need the gazongas. We need all of that. Maybe we can mix and match with the order. But yes, this is something that we need to address. We need to address. Oh my God. Well, I think that we have right at the end of this 100 episode. Has been very fun. I thought I was going to talk for 1 hour, and we were really close to 2 hours and going. I'm pretty sure that I'm going to continue doing this live streams. And again, this individual sections, it's individual topics I'm going to distribute over not only my main channel here, the Body Language Guy, but also my other channels, the Royal Rogue. Today we didn't talk about Megan, but you know that Megan is also an usual guest on my live streams. The Power Pundit, the Scene Surgeon. I'm going to leave you the links, but you already know where my channels are. You go to my main, I think that you still go to my main page of my channel. Let me just confirm that. And you can see all my channels on the bottom. Even my true crime channel. At some point I could be talking about true crime as well. See if there are no more super chats. There's one super chat. A super chat from Wahlberg's Lupus. Wahlberg's Lupus. An empty super chat, but thank you for supporting my channel, Wahlberg. Thank you. I am so pleased to have you here. And remember that all you have to do is to like and subscribe to all my channels. My Body Language Buddies. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Body Language Guy. And until we meet on another video, another live, remember the most important words: much love and bliss. Take care. Be safe. I love every single one of you. Bye-bye.